welcome back to Book and Prejudice. My name is Matt and today I am bringing you a video that exactly one person asked for, but I thought it was a great idea, and that is book recommendations that I would give to someone that wants to start reading or wants to go back into reading, or perhaps just, someone that's not quite sure where to start in their reading journey. And the reason why I thought now would be a great time to do it was because come autumn, come winter, the nights get longer, it gets dark really soon, it gets really cold and the weather's not nice. And most of the time, you just want to get in your couch in comfortable pajamas, grab a really hot drink, grab a good book, and just curl on the sofa and spend your evening that way. And so I wanted to make sure that everyone that wants to start their reading journey is prepared to do so. Now, the books that I have selected don't make any sense. There's a weird jumble mambo of them all, so please bear with in this very chaotic video of books. Let's get going. So the first book that I chose shouldn't come as a shock to anyone. That is Donna Tartt's The Secret History. First reason I chose this book is because it's really good. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. But the second reason I recommend it is because this is a book that takes place in autumn/winter, so it is perfect for when you wanna be in a more atmospheric environment to match your book. I think that it is so well written, it is so gripping that you will not be able to put it down. So although it is quite long, so I wouldn't recommend this perhaps to someone that wants something shorter, but it is, because it is quite long, but it is a great book to kind of get really into a story from the beginning. I think that a lot of times the reason why people don't get into reading is because they just don't find something that they are interested in, and this book is just so interesting and so gripping that I don't think that will be the case at all. So yeah, Donna Tartt's The Secret History. This is so good. I really liked it. For those who don't know what it is about something happens on campus. There is a murder, and it is all about figuring out who killed, who is the murderer, why they murdered the person, and she does it all while being very humane towards characters. And I think that that's what I like the most, her portrayal of humanity as something extremely flawed, because at the end of the day, that's what humanity is. The next book I have recommended is Isabel Allende's The House of the Spirit. Would like to preface this by saying that this is my mom's book, and if she's seeing this, I don't want to give it back yet. Sorry for that. But the reason I'm recommending this book, especially now for autumn, is because it emphasizes a lot on the passing of time. And I think that autumn and winter, but mostly autumn, it is a perfect symbolism of time and how it works. You have a very vivid image of leaves going from green to yellow to orange to just not being there anymore. And I think that book sort of does the same thing in a very literary way instead of like a tree way, basically, because it shows how time passes and how time changes you and how time changes relationships and families. So I love this book. This was my top book from 2020, and I really, really cannot express enough how much you're gonna love this book. It does take place in a warmer climate. I think it takes place in it doesn't say, maybe it does, I don't know, can't remember, but it does take place in Latin America, so it is warmer there. There's no like thunderstorms or snowstorms or anything like that, but I still think that this is a really, really good book to recommend to someone if they want to kind of just explore on the melancholy of the passage of time, which I think is very typical in the autumn time, to feel that melancholy of, oh shoot, the day is done, my week is done, my year is done. Like, that is very prominent in the winter and the autumn time, and I think it is also very prominent in this book. Okay, next up I chose Cersei, and I'm gonna be very honest, the first reason I chose it is because my particular cover is very autumny. It's just very autumny. It is. It looks fantastic. But I also chose Cersei because I think it is a fantastic book. I think that nature is a very important part of this book, and that is very much a theme that you have throughout all of the seasons. But for me in particular, I feel nature at its boldest during the autumn and the winter, when it is literally survival of the fittest for plants, for animals, for myself, because I don't handle the cold very well. So that's why I chose this. This is a beautiful story as well. So it is one of those books that if you manage to power through the first 30-40 pages, you're just gonna be so hooked to it. I cannot express enough how good this book was and how much it would make you feel all warm and cozy, even when it gets hard, because it does have some harder scenes. I definitely would recommend. It also talks about the rebirth of Cersei in a way, because she's no longer portrayed as a first witch, but rather as an empowered woman, and what that entails. And I think that that is great. And I just think it's a perfect book for fall, because it just makes you all feel all warm inside and full of hope. And that's why I would recommend this. And because of the cover. The covers, like, that's just fall in a book, I think, at least. And there's a map on my copy, so always love a good map. Next up is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I just finished this yesterday, so there's that going on for me, but I loved it. And that's why I'm going to talk about it. I'm not going to go in depth about my opinions of the book, because that will be on another video that I will make. But I will be speaking a little bit about why this book is good. First of all, it takes place in Yale. Guess what happens in September and during autumn? Back to school, back to university, back to education. Yale, educational institution. So, you know, that's the first link. Second link is that it takes place mostly during winter and autumn. I don't want to spoil the story, but you can see there that it says winter. Okay? So it is very dependent on seasons. I think that a lot of people will enjoy this book. I would say it is a little bit scary. I got scared, had to put it down a couple times at night. So if you're a bit more of a scaredy cat, maybe this is not the book for you. But I definitely thought that this was really good. It's the first book I read by Leigh Bardugo, so 100% would recommend it. I also think that just because it takes place at university, and you know, there's a lot of ghosts or ghost-like creatures rather, that's very much the representative of the month of September and October, you know, very Halloween-esque. Maybe not even read it in September, but read it in October, and like start it end of October to finish it in November. I think that would be the perfect time frame to read this book. I didn't do that because I didn't know that, but I'm giving you the advice now from what I wish I had known had I seen this video before I read this book. So yes, I really loved it. I really, really like this book. And I think that it's perfect to get back into that dark academia book setting that I think a lot of us crave, especially now that it's so TikTok popular. My next book is a Kindle, so I'll pop it here. And that is Red, White and Royal Blue by Cassie McKinton. No, that's not her name. Is that her name? I don't know. If that's not her name, I'll correct it here. But the reason I'm choosing this book is because it is a rom-com, but it is one of the only rom-coms that I've actually really enjoyed to read. So I would definitely recommend reading this if you're in the mood for something light, something fluffy, something happy, something that just makes you feel good and warm and cozy inside. It is a beautiful story of two guys that hate each other and then potentially don't hate each other that much anymore, but with a twist of one of these guys being the president of the United States' son and the other one being heir to the royal throne. I don't think he's the direct heir. I think he has a brother or sister above him, but regardless, he is part of the royalty, British royalty. So what will happen? I feel like everyone knows, but regardless, I wonder what will happen. But it was a really beautiful book. It's a really beautiful story, and you know how they say that winter is cuffing season? Not always. Sometimes you're just alone in winter, so you might as well get boyfriends from books, which is what every normal person does, am I right? Anyways, definitely recommend that book. And my next recommendation is, oh, I can't pick it up. There we go. Inkheart by Cornelia Funk, sorry. This is my copy. I think my copy is stunning. I've read this book to death. I got it gifted to me by my godmother. I believe in 2008. That's when I got this book. It has my signature and everything from way back when, because I thought I was gonna sign books. I don't anymore. I stamped them, which is more obnoxious even. Anyways, back to the book. This is a great book. This is not YA, but not middle grade. I would say it's a bit dark for middle grade, but I would say it's a bit easy for a young adult. But regardless, this is a great book because it takes place in a fantastical land where thunderstorms and rain is a very big part of it. And if there's one thing you get in the autumn time, is thunderstorms and rain. Okay, that should be self-explanatory. But if it isn't, there you go. But I also really enjoyed it because it has all of these magical creatures that are inspired in different types of animals. And I just think that when you're at home, if you're lucky enough to have a pet, you just want to cuddle them and read your book. And this book is basically a representation of that. I would also recommend this book to people that maybe don't want something too hard, but they still want to feel something, because you cannot help but fall in love with Meg, the main character. And I just recommend this to anyone that really just wants to feel nice and warm and cozy for a few days. It's long, but the handwriting's big. Again, this is a children's book, sort of. Kind of. So definitely keep that in mind when you're reading it. But I definitely recommend this, just in case you want to just be like, something easy, something cute. This is the book for you. It is a bit dark though. It is a bit dark. Something easy, something cute, but still a bit dark. All of my books found. Like, okay. Second to last book is If We Were Villains by Emma Rio. My friend Celia recommended this for the book club. She didn't have a good taste, and then she had an excellent case. So the reason I recommend this is, once again, university setting. Education is happening around you people. We might as well embrace it in in books. So I really like this, but I also love this because it again takes place in this like almost castle-like university, in which it's all just surrounded by forest and nature and cold, and there's big fires going on in chimneys, and I just think it's great. It's also very similar to The Secret History in terms of there's a murder and someone did it, and it's a guess who of who murdered the person. So that's why I thought this was great. I actually don't know if I like this one more than The Secret History, because I really like The Secret History, but I also really like this one. I don't know. You guys read them and tell me what you guys like more. But I think that this is a perfect book for now, especially like come October, November again, because you're just immersed fully in school life. And this book talks about what happens when that goes too far. And it's also very gripping, so you will not be able to put this down if you start it. And I think that that says a lot about the author, but also helps a lot the people that don't know perhaps if they're gonna like it or not. You want something that will grip you from the get-go, and this book will. Okay, and lastly I have The Binding by Bridget Collins. Again, this is a book that I chose primarily because this cover looks so autumny, I love it. But also because it takes place in kind of like the Midlands. How would I explain this? takes place in the Midlands of England, but at the same time, it's not really England because there is some elements of like fantasy and like fantastical elements. So I would not, this is not purely 100% no fantasy, but the fantasy is very mild. It's not like a full world building situation, if you know what I mean. And the particular thing with this book is that it really draws from its atmosphere and from the setting of the book. So you can get a lot out of how it is when the characters say they're cold. They don't just say, oh, I'm cold. They paint a picture of the day around them and how that day is making them feel. And I think that imagery can really help someone that's not really into reading keep their head in the game. You know, like in High School Musical when they say, keep your head in the game. That's what this book's gonna help you do. And also, the story itself is beautiful. It's a beautifully heartbreaking story in which you just want to know what happens to the characters in the end. It's not something you just kind of want to read and you just read every now and then. You will keep reading it until you finish it. And I think that that's fantastic. I think that that's so good. I wish that there were more books like this, which leads me to say, I actually have the second one, which is The Betrayals, which also looks very autumny. And I will be reading this soon, hopefully. But yeah, those are my recommendations for someone that wants to start reading soon and doesn't know where to start. I think that autumn is a great time to start reading. You know, nobody wants to go out when it's 3-4 degrees outside. That is the truth. So you might as well just embrace your inner nerd, get in the couch, read a good book, have a good tea, and just enjoy spending some time with yourself and immersing yourself in a new world, or even if the world does exist. You know what I mean, right? Let's hope so. Anyways, this is it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, all of that jazz. If you want to see more bookish content, please follow me at Book and Prejudice, where I try to keep more, that's on Instagram, by the way. Follow me at Book and Prejudice on Instagram, where I try to keep you updated on what I'm reading and I post more bookish content. Until then, bye-bye!